Hello, welcome in another important video. I hope you all are doing great. In our previous video, we saw how to interact with deployed Solidity smart contract on local Ethereum virtual machine from our ReactJS frontend. So let's quickly recap what we have done in our previous video. We created simple hello world Solidity file and we kept one function which is basic function and it is just returning some message from this function. Alright. After that, we have created migration file which is required to interact with frontend. So we declared artifacts name and its configurations, and we have done with our Solidity smart contracts. Then after that, we have deployed this created contract on the local Ethereum virtual machine using command 𝗕𝗏𝗄𝐻, and we successfully able to deploy that on the 𝗕𝗫𝐻. After that, we have created simple ReactJS project, and using Web3 library, we successfully able to make connection between our 𝗕𝗫𝐻 and our front end. Okay. After that, we make connection between deployed contracts and be able to call the method inside of our deployed contract. So this is how we successfully able to make connection between our deployed contracts, and everything is working fine now. So now we know that our end-to-end connection is working fine. So now it's time to complete our entire project, which is nothing but online auction platform. So we are trying to create online auction platform. We have our Solidity smart contract ready. We have already saw how to create Solidity smart contract. So we've created that smart contract in Remix IDE. So I'm going to go and copy this entire code. So the code will remain same. And let's come back in our VS Code and I'm going to create a new contract. So let's give it a name auction.sol. And inside of it, let's simply paste it, right? So since we have our contract ready, we don't have to check is it working or not, because we have already done it. If you want to check this contract is working or not, you can use 𝗕𝗏𝗄𝐿 command. But before that, we have to create migration file. So let's quickly go here and create new migration file. So now let's create three. Migration file name will be 3_auction_migration. You don't have to write entire code manually, just go and copy paste it. It's just that we have to change this artifact name because this artifact name will help us decide with which contract we are trying to interact with, right? So our contract name will be auction, and I'm gonna paste it here. Let's see if everything is fine. Okay. We have to migrate our changes on local Ethereum virtual machine, which is nothing but our 𝗕𝗫𝐻. So for that purpose, we have to write one command, and that command will be 𝗕𝗏𝗄𝗃. So let's execute this command. So let's wait for a while, and meanwhile we can observe those changes in 𝗕𝗫𝐻. Alright, so migration is completed. As you can see here, total deployments is 3 and total number of contracts we have is 3. So that means all our created Solidity smart contracts is deployed now. So what we're gonna do here is we have to make connection with this Solidity file, right? So for that purpose, I'm gonna go inside the build folder and I'm gonna copy this auction.json file, and let's come back in ReactJS code, and inside of the static folder, let's paste it. We have seen this when we saw example of hello world. So we have to repeat the same process. Now the only one file that we need to make changes, which is nothing but app.json file, and inside of this, since we are not going to deal with hello world contract anymore, so I'm going to change its name with auction.json, right? So let's make changes in this variable. Let's make changes here as well and here as well. With this way, we'll be able to connect with our auction Solidity smart contract. All right. So now since online auction, since auction Solidity smart contract will not have this get message method, so I'm gonna check which methods are available for us to call. So for that purpose, let's keep this contract.methods, right? Now save this and let's see if everything is working fine. So our React.js project is running. So I'm going to go inside the browser, check on the port number 3000. So let's go inside inspect element, and inside of console, as you can see here, we got an object. So the first array will be the array of accounts, which is our previous work, but this object will give us an information about the methods that are available to call. So as you can see here, we have highest bid, highest bid, highest bidder, and highest bidder. So all these methods we have already, so all these methods declared by us when we created our auction Solidity smart contract, right? So let's try to call these methods one by one. So let's say if any user wants to put any bid on any object, but before that we need to show some user interface so that it will look cool. So for that purpose, let's say I'm gonna go on internet. We have watch image now. Now let's quickly edit some user interface. Instead of the static, we have watch.jpg file. That's it. And we will write one button after that. And let's say we will add input field. All right. So we have input field, we have button, and we have image also. All right. So now it's time to call any method. But before that, let's put one event on this particular button. So I'm going to put on click event, and let's say this dot put bid function. All right. And if you know React.js little bit, this syntax, because this will make sure that this function will get execute only when we click on the function, only when we click on the button, not on the load of this component. All right. So this is just a React.js thing. You don't have to worry about this. All right. So now let's declare this function and let's put event.prevent default. That's it. And after that, what we are going to do here is we will try to call any method which is inside of this functions. All right, which is inside of this list. So since we are trying to put any bid, so we will have to call this put bid function. All right. So for that purpose, I'm going to copy this syntax and I'm going to paste it here, and let's put bid, right? But if you can see here inside of this contract, let me show this method to you. So this is our put bid method. This is our put bid method, and this put bid method is nothing but the payable method. So we already saw what is payable method. So this method basically suggests that whenever we will call this function will accept Ethereums inside of the contract. All right. So since we are trying to pass or pay some value of Ethereum inside of Solidity smart contract, we will have to define address of that particular user, right? So let's say we have this many accounts in our local Ethereum virtual machine. So we can use any one of this account and try to call this method. So for that purpose, we will have to use call, and whenever we will try to call, we will have to pass some parameters. First parameter will be from, and the value of this parameter will be this address. So we are not going to use this particular address because we have already used this address to deploy our Solidity smart contract. So let's use any fresh account which has 100 Ethereums in its account, 100 Ethereums in the balance. So I'm going to use this address. So inside of this from, I'm going to put this from, and as a second parameter, I have to pass a value. So this value will be the amount of Ethereums you are trying to pass. So this value by default accept the way value. So if you go on the internet and search, so you can see here 1 Ethereum will be this much way, right? So 1 Ethereum will be 1 raised to the power of 18. So 18 zeros will be there. So let's copy this amount and paste it here as in value. So let's remove the commas, because this particular value parameter will accept unsigned integer only. So all in all, we are trying to pass 1 Ethereum as a hard-coded value as a bid for this particular watch. Later on, we will make it customized. We have this input field, which is we are not using at the moment, but we will use it later on. All right. So just to confirm that everything is working fine, we have kept this value hard-coded. All right. So now we have our address ready. We have amount ready. Only thing remain is once we call this function, we should know that who is the highest bidder and who paid how much bid, right? So for that purpose, we are going to take help of one more function, which is nothing but highest bid. So now this highest bid function will give us an information about who paid the highest bid. Initially, it will be 0. Since our highest bid function is not payable, we don't have to pass any address as a parameter. And let's print the value of highest bidder as well. So everything is fine now. Let's go back inside of the console and see if everything is working fine. So as you can see, await is outside of async function, so we have to make our function as an async. Let's save this, and it is saying my contract is not defined, which is fine because my contract scope is limited to this only. So I'm gonna bring this variable outside so that we can get this variable in global scope. If you want, you can keep this in ReactJS state as well. Okay, we will fix this image later on. Okay, the things that we need to focus is this. So at this moment, highest bid is 0 and highest bidder is no one. So if I click on this put bid button, so it will trigger this method, which is nothing but put bid function, and it will call this put bid method, and we will send 1 Ethereum as a bid amount for buying this watch. So let's see this in action. If I click on this, so the results will be an empty, and I don't know why. Alright, so now let's try this with send. Save this. As you can see, this method executed successfully, and now we can see here highest bid amount will be 1 Ethereum and highest bidder address is this. So this is the same address which we have used from here. So as you can see, the balance is also deducted. Let's see this one more time. If I click on this, so the highest bid amount will be 2 Ethereums, and now 1 more Ethereum got deducted from this particular address balance, right? So now everything is working fine. It's just that we have to make this hard-coded values as dynamic values. So it depends on who is calling this method. Accordingly, we will deduct amount from his account. First of all, let's fix this image. So I have applied some styling on this particular division to bring all the content inside of this division at the center. So this is how the final output looks like. And in order to fix this image issue, we are going to go here and we will import this image. Let's say watch.jpg, and in here we have to pass this variable. Okay, so as you can see, we have this image as well. So I think that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.